What's happening, guys? Oxford King here, and in this Monster Hunter Wilds video, I'm going to give you 8 tips on settings that you should change in Monster Hunter Wilds. Let's get started. Tip number 1 is change the camera distance zoom. Did you know that in the game there is a slider that allows you to pull out the FOV just a little bit? It's not much, though. I'm going to be straight up honest with you. It's not that much, but hey, it's there. It's a little bit more. It's a little bit better than having nothing at all. By default, it's set to the option of 4. We want to put this all the way to 10, okay? It's buried in the menu, and I'm going to navigate to there. I'm going to show you where it's at. First, you're going to open up your options here and head over to System, and then go into Options, and then go to Camera. And then in the Camera tab, there's a second page within the Camera tab that's called Camera Distance Zoom. In there, there's a slider, and by default, it's set to 4. Just move that all the way over to the right. Tip number 2 is for the folks that want gyro camera controls to be enabled. Yes, even the PC version has gyro camera controls. So if you didn't know where that's at, you're simply going to open up your options here and go into the camera tab. And within that camera tab, there is the 4th page. Okay, so go into camera tab, go to page number 4, and you're going to see the gyro camera controls right there. You can toggle that on or off. Tip number 3 is the Seikret Auto Explore, or Seikret. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. I think it's Seikret. You can actually disable or enable the auto exploring. Personally, I found the auto exploring a little annoying. So the first thing I looked for was to turn this off. How you find that is go into your game settings. So go into option settings and then the game settings tab. And then in here, it's page number 3. Okay. And then you're going to look down to the Seikret Auto Explore and simply just either enable it, which is already by default, it's enabled, or disable it. Tip number 4 is motion blur. Now, I actually like motion blur in my games. I just always wish there was a slider for it instead of it giving it off and on. I'd rather have a slider because I feel like it's a little smoother. But a lot of folks out there do not want motion blur in their games. How do you turn this feature off? Pretty simple. You're going to go into your options and settings, right? And then go to the graphics tab. And within the graphics tab, you're going to go to page number 2. And then here is where you're going to find the motion blur toggle. Tip number 5 is disable the voice chat if you don't want to use it, even if it says push to talk. So a little funny story here is I actually had this setting on push to talk only. So that meant that I wasn't going to push any buttons for the voice to go. So I thought it was disabled. Well, little did I know that it was actually working, and somebody was in a party of mine that I did not know, and they held their microphone up to their speaker, and I can hear my own voice in my live stream, which I thought was hilarious. So I quickly went into the settings and just straight up disabled it rather than hitting push to talk. How do you do that? Where is this at? So you're going to go over to the options and then settings and go into the audio tab. All right, this lives under the audio tab, and it's actually on page number 1 within that tab, and you're going to find voice chat. Now, you're going to drop this down, and there's several options. You're going to look for an option called just straight up disable it. And if you want to, you can go ahead and just move that slider down to the volume all the way off if you don't want to have voice chat in the game whatsoever. Tip number 6, and I'm so glad I found this. I knew it was in the game, but I was like, where is it? I can't find it. And it's to hide your head armor. I was like, I know it was in World, so where is it in here? It's there, but it's buried. So simply open up your game settings tab. And then in here, it's actually on page 3 within that game settings tab. Now it's buried. And then right there, boom, you're going to see head armor visibility. You can toggle that off or on, your choice. Tip number 7 is disable auto sheathe if you choose to do so, right? If you like auto sheathe, absolutely leave this on. It's on by default. I personally don't like it. I like to sheathe and have control over that. I think a lot of us do, in my humble opinion, from what I've read, at least online. But to disable this, go to the controls tab, and it's on page 1 within the controls tab, and you're going to see auto sheathe. You can simply turn it off or on right there. Number 8 is the repeat tutorials. And I know that we're going to be playing this game quite a bit on release, at least. And once we get there, you're going to wish we knew where this was, because you're going to see the tutorials pop up off and on, and you're going to wish you kind of turn it off later on. So to do that, you go into your game settings tab, and then in here, go to the 4th page within the game settings tab, and then there's repeat tutorials off or on. Just simply turn that off or on. Drop a comment. Let me know what tips can you share within the Monster Hunter Wilds community on what other tips that you could turn off or on in the settings. I'm really curious because I know I missed a few. Thanks for watching.